Yo, what is good, YouTube? It's your boy Dez Reacts, back with another pretty highly requested video. Actually, this is Know Your Ally, Britain. So this is when the in World War II, the USA troops, before they got sent overseas to the UK or Germany, wherever they're going, and basically just let them know who Britain was, because you know there's no social media back in the day, so they didn't really know what they were getting themselves into for the most part. But man, I feel like it's about to be a dope video, man. Thank you guys for sharing this, bro. We're at 1,896 subs, almost at 2K. I'll probably cry myself to sleep if I don't get to 1,900 by the time this video drops. But man, it's all good. Appreciate all the love and support, man. Thanks you guys for, you know, some of you guys bought me some coffees, man. Really appreciate that. Links in the bio if you guys want to help support your boy's channel. Without further ado, man, please smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn on the noties, and leave a comment. I want to know your guys' thoughts and feelings on this, if anything's changed since this video has been out. But I'm just gonna get my perspective, you know. I feel like it's gonna be a pretty cool experience, because I'm pretty sure my great-grandpa, or not my great-grandpa, sorry, my grandpa watched this video before he got sent to Germany. And if you guys don't remember, he was in an all-black battalion, got sent to Germany. His name was Zebedee, man. RIP. But yeah, without further ado, let's get it. Oh, and this is about to be a two-part video, by the way, so keep your eyes out for part 2. Let me know in the comments if you guys want part 2. Turn this joint up. Hope you guys got your favorite snacks out, got your breakfast out, your dinner, wherever you guys at in the world, man. Just sit back, relax, and enjoy it. It's about to be a movie, I guess. Oh, that's crazy. We're just firing live guns? Bro, they were crazy back in the day, bro. But that was some old school American football right there, boy. Those boys are garbage compared to the players today. But that's crazy, though, that he just had a live round inside that gun and just shot it.
That game wasn't won by the man who made that touchdown. It was won by a team, and every man on the team had a share in winning it. We're playing another kind of a game now, only this one isn't for fun. Oh. It's for keeps.
I didn't know that we're gonna have war footage in here. This might be okay.
And this game won't be won by any single player either. It'll be won by a team. A team called the United Nations. The ball will be carried by the men in the backfield. The tough little guy from China, Big Joe Russia, John Britain, and a guy called Yank, the 4 greatest backs in the world. So let's take a look at the men who carry the ball with us. Who are they? How do they live? What makes them tick?
This would be interesting.
The one that's toughest to understand, the one we know just enough about to confuse us, John Britain.
Here's where he lives. A little island no larger than the state of Idaho. 500,000 people live in Idaho. 96 times that many live in Britain.
Whoa, I forgot how small that was. Britain was. Dang, and I'm from right here. I'm from Oregon. Shout out to Oregon. But it's barely the size of Idaho. But you guys have you guys had tons of people though that live there. That's crazy.
the Nazis...
How many people live in the UK right now? Or not UK, how many people live in Britain right now? Let me know in the comments.
And the Japs scream about Lebensraum, living space. But there are more people on a square mile of Britain than a square mile of Germany or Italy or Japan. More congestion than practically any place on Earth except the New York subway or a sardine can. And that's a clue that explains a lot about John Britain. We build front porches on our houses because we didn't want to miss the chance to see our neighbors. But John Britain hides himself in a little box and plants a hedge around that to make sure he doesn't. Living that close to neighbors, privacy is part of the pursuit of happiness.
So is that you think that's why? Is that true over there? Is it super crowded over there still? Which I feel like there's even more people now. So I guess the privacy thing, you know, makes sense. But in today's day and age in America, bro, most people want their privacy. They don't like talking to people no more. You know what I mean?
And in the sardine can called Britain, they learn to get on with their neighbors. They have to. He's too damn close. That's why they have so little crime in Britain. Believe it or not, even in wartime, the British cop does not carry a gun, nor does the professional crook. And in 1926, when the world heard of this stoppage of work in Britain, that industry...
That's pretty insane. I mean, it's crazy that the officers don't carry weapons. Like, I don't understand why you guys don't let your guys' police officers carry guns, because, you know, a criminal is a criminal. Like, he's not following the law, you know what I mean? So if he has a gun, then what? I know you guys have some armed units probably that come out, but like, that's pretty crazy, man, because USA, obviously the cops have to be strapped because so many people have guns here.
Transportation, the whole life of the country had been paralyzed by a general strike. It was still more surprised next day to learn that the strikers were playing football with the cops. You can only understand that if you live in a sardine can. The second clue to this guy
just
on
tackle him?
No part of Britain is more than 100 miles from the sea. Every day for hundreds of years, years of peace and years of war, John Britain has seen ships sail from his island to the seven seas. That means that whenever John Britain wants to bust out of his sardine can, it's the sea that gets him.
And this is back when obviously the UK had the best, you know, navy in the world, like the biggest and best, baddest. So that makes sense. Let me know in the comments, bro. And since you guys have so much like water over there, you know, like, how's the fishing over there? Do you guys, any of you guys like fishing, man? I love fishing, bro. Let me know in the comments if you guys be fishing over there, and what kind of fish do you guys catch?
He's been busting out for hundreds of years, and that led to Australia, South Africa, New Zealand, Canada, and for that matter, the United States of America. How did John Britain get on our team? Remember 1938? The Yankees won the pennant. Wrong way, Corrigan. The last trains ran on the 6th Avenue L. Well, John Britain got excited about the same sort of things. The bet he had on the Derby, or, as he would say, the Derby. His job. His kids. Getting his exercise on his day off. Preston North End taking the football cup.
That's crazy.
Only 300 miles away, people were cheering another kind of event.
Let me know your guys' thoughts on your guys' soccer. I mean, excuse me, football. Who's your favorite team? Let me know in the comments. And that's crazy. He said Germany's only 300 miles from England or Britain. That's insane, bro. We have like, I could drive from Oregon to Idaho in 300, and that's 300 miles. Like if I go to the opposite side of Idaho to like Montana, that's like 300 miles. That's crazy.
And in London and every other British city and town, they read about what was going on in Europe, and they got sore about it. but they were also pretty well determined to keep it none of their business. Then, this looked bad. The Czechs had a mutual assistance pact with France, and France had one with Britain. This might mean war, even though everyone was anxious to avoid it. They'd been through one war, perhaps been wounded. Hundreds of thousands of their brothers and friends had been killed. There was nothing beautiful to them about war, and they had no desire for another.
In a last desperate effort to preserve peace, the Prime Minister today flew to Munich.
All was well. Britain, France, Italy, and Germany were signing a pact at Munich. A pact in which the Germans agreed they had no further territorial claims to make. It was to be peace in our time. But it turned out to be a strange sort of peace. Hitler's first move was to break the pact he had signed. Wishful thinking was ended. Now they knew
That's
something
crazy.
had to be done about Germany.
They approved the Conscription Act, the first peacetime conscription in British history, just as the Selective Service Act was the first in American history.
So is that your guys's like draft? So in the UK, that was your guys's draft, right? The conscription, because like the special selective, whatever they called for the USA, that's a draft. So if we were like running out of soldiers, or we needed a lot of soldiers, we'd get drafted. Still to this day, the last draft was in Vietnam.
The British had put their cards on the table. They had, in effect, said to Hitler,
"That's enough. If you go into Poland, we'll fight."
Hitler smiled. Like other would-be conquerors of Britain, Philip of Spain, Napoleon, Kaiser Wilhelm, he thought he understood the British. He didn't. The sleeping lion began to wake up. He was a pretty drowsy lion for the first 6 months of the war. He snapped and growled. But he dropped more leaflets than bombs. He hoped that common sense would return to the German people and that they would throw out Hitler and the German warlords. Instead...
Interesting.
At dawn this morning, the German armies, without warning, invaded the neutral countries of Luxembourg, Holland, and Belgium.
And that's pretty crazy. So the leaflets, I didn't know that the UK, the British, I didn't know that you guys dropped those into Germany to try to, you know, have a little uprising in Germany, like of the people, and have them, you know, protest the war. So that's pretty crazy. The USA did that for when we're going into Fallujah in Iraq, and they dropped leaflets, you know, but it's just to like evacuate people. But that's crazy though. I didn't know they used that in the World War II.
The King of the Belgians today surrendered his armies of more than 500,000 men.
Marshal Pétain, as French chief of state, has asked for an armistice. The issue in France is ended.
Britain was alone. Czechoslovakia occupied, Poland defeated, Denmark gone, Norway gone, Holland, Belgium, France gone. Only Britain now. Britain was alone. Hitler considered the war over. Everybody considered the war over except the British. At the 11th hour, the lion was finally aroused.
We shall defend our island, whatever the cost may be. We shall fight on beaches, landing grounds, in fields, in streets, and on the hills. We shall never surrender.
Put yourself into that perspective, bro. So I guarantee you, almost like 24 hours a day, you're gonna have your radio on full blast, bro, so you guys could hear the broadcast, because you don't know what's going on in that time unless the radio came on. So that had to be intense.
a year, they took everything that the Nazis could throw at them. For 1 solid year, from June 1940 to June of 1941, they were the only major power fighting the greatest war machine in the world.
Damn.
They took body blow after body blow. Solid punches before they even had their guard up. All they did was take it on the chin and hang on to the ropes. They never went down.
Smiling. Look at that's crazy. Those women are just smiling, like just trying to have good spirit. That tells me that the Brits, you guys have some good resolve. Like you guys don't let you know, stuff hit too deep that takes you out the game, you know what I mean?
And while they buried their dead, they prepared grimly and defiantly for the day when they could strike back. There were no victories to cheer them on, just defeat after defeat. Some heroic, like the beaches of Dunkirk, or like the hills of Greece, where British soldiers landed to keep their pledge of honor to the Greek people. Landed knowing they were facing overwhelming odds.
Wow.
But some less glorious. Hong Kong and Singapore and Burma. But through all these long months, the British people were thinking and planning and working only for the day when they themselves could take the offensive. And that day came.
That footage is crazy, bro. People were so brave in World War II, man. That's crazy.
It was the British that made the Germans realize that war could be brought to German soil, too. Day after day, night after night. The offensive continues in greater and greater strength. That's in the air. And on the ground, 1,500 miles away in North Africa.
Wow. These shots are so awesome, bro. Can we just pay some respects to the cameraman, though? You know, these weren't no little GoPros or little on the body cams. These are, he has no weapon on him. He's probably just wearing a vest, a helmet, and he's just, you know, cranking his little thing, cranking his little camera. That would suck. Imagine how vulnerable they felt. But he probably loved his job. He probably volunteered to do it, too. That's crazy.
1,700 miles in 122 days. 1,700 miles of sand and
1,700 miles in 22 days. And not every single one of them was riding in jeeps or tanks, bro. They were walking in the heat. That sucks. I bet you when the American soldiers are watching this, they're probably getting nervous because all the fighting and stuff they saw. 2, they just knew it was about to be miserable.
Wind and enemies. Once more, the people of Britain heard their church bells ring. More than 3 years earlier, they had been warned that this would be the signal of invasion. But long since the nightmare of the threat of invasion had passed. Now the bells rang out a song of thanksgiving, a song of victory.
Now there's the plain and simple truth about Britain.
One thing that Europe has that I freaking love to see, or just that I would love to go to, is some of those cathedrals. Aside from the castles and stuff, like the cathedrals are so sick, bro. You guys have some of the sickest like looking architecture in the world. Like there's cathedrals here in America, but you know, they're all like remakes and stuff. It's not like they're some building from like the 1300s, you know what I mean?
But the fellow that calls the signals on the Axis team knows his only chance of winning is to split our team up. So his team plays a game at which they've had a lot of practice. A game which has conquered half a dozen countries for them. A game called Divide and Conquer. Men like these tell the British we aren't taking the war seriously. They tell the Russians we are letting them down. They tell the British the Russians will sell them out. And they tell us,
it is manifestly ridiculous for the warmonger Roosevelt to tell the American people that they have anything in common with the British. On the contrary, they are different in every respect.
Well, there are differences, that's true.
And that is one thing that the Germans did, and I wonder if it played a factor in like some of the citizens' heads, maybe some of the soldiers' heads too. Like they were spewing out lies, you know, trying to get all the allies to turn on each other. Obviously, you know, we knew it was bigger than that, and especially when we find out like what they were doing to the Jews and stuff, like that's when it was 100% game over. But it's also crazy how quick Germany was able to conquer all of those countries, because this is only year 2 into the war, I think, when we first started going to help you guys in 1941. So that's nuts. Like 13 countries or something in 2 years, or however much countries it was.
For instance, we drive on the right side of the road, but in Britain, we go for baseball. They have a little number called cricket.
Do any of you guys play cricket? I didn't correlate that with the British sport. I thought that was like a yeah, I guess I did know. I just knew it was like some European sport or like Australian or something. Let me know in the comments if you guys ever played cricket or was on like a cricket team or something like that. That'd be crazy.
Very well played, sir.
And anyone who ever drank coffee over there knows why there'll always be an England.
Is your coffee all right, sir?
Give us a glass of half and half. Have you heard about it, boys?
I'm confused. Is he were they making a joke like it's because it was tea or something? Or what?
Give us another glass of half and half. Blimey, you'd have thought it happened to poor old Bill. And another bloke he...
So I went in to sup my dinner, but it's that and buckets and I was getting swarch. Lad, that's bad.
Main Tchaikovsky's smaller pianoforte works are past...
Are they kidding, Jack? Why the cockamamie sprinkling some schmaltz mixed with celery tonic?
Why do they all mush so much with corn pone in their mouth? You all can't understand a word they say.
Yes, there are differences. But there are a few things that Britain and America do have in common. And these are the important things of life. A little thing called a free representative government. We call it Congress. They call it Parliament. A little thing called freedom of speech.
In the next war,
But like we did learn though in the video that I did a couple nights ago, you know, with the Queen of England's powers, like technically if the Queen wanted to, you know, that's what goes. And the Parliament's there and stuff to make the laws and stuff, but it's the Queen's say so at the end of the day, so.
got to go to it. They'll bring the war to you. And the thing is, if you take it from me, go and live at the Dorchester, because the trenches are just outside.
This meeting is called under the auspices of the American Workers' Party, an organization dedicated to the organizing of the working class of America.
Freedom of the press. Freedom of religion. They may not be important to Hitler, but all these things are the common heritage of John Q. Public and John Britton. 700 years ago, their ancestors fought for the Magna Carta.
No one will we deny or delay right or justice.
So is that true in England or in the Great Britain, UK? Was it freedom of religion and stuff? Did you guys have all that? Freedom of speech, freedom of religions? Could, you know, anyone be any religion in the UK? Great Britain?
300 years ago, the Petition of Right.
No man shall be compelled to yield any tax without act of Parliament.
These principles came to our own country with the earliest settlers, and from them developed.
Congress shall make no laws respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble.
We may make gags about each other's accents, but we speak the same language of freedom. Even during the American Revolution, when we were at each other's throats, the Earl of Chatham was free to say about us to the British Parliament,
"You cannot but respect their cause and wish to make it your own."
And that is why in the heart of London, alongside his great naval hero, Nelson, John Britton has put George Washington. And in Parliament Square, the most sacred spot in the British Commonwealth of Nations, Abraham Lincoln.
Of course, Hitler doesn't like this kind of talk.
Wow, so you guys have Abraham Lincoln in your guys' like most important part of your guys' government. I didn't know that. That's pretty awesome, man.
His job is to sell the British that we are a nation of money grubbers and gangsters. While in the next studio, he is selling us the idea that the British are gutless and dopes. The John Q. Public and John Britton are entirely different. All right, Hitler, where are these miners? Wales or West Virginia? These farmers, Devonshire or Wisconsin? These steel workers, Sheffield or Pittsburgh? These children, American or British, they live in lands which share the same hopes, the same ideals, and unlike the poor children of Germany, in lands where the truth is free.
And keep in mind, there is no person of color whatsoever representing anything in these videos for America. So, just a side note. That's also wanted to ask you guys, man. So the Queen's Guards, have you guys had any crazy experience with them? I see that some videos on YouTube and stuff, like where they'll start freaking out, screaming, point their guns at people if they cross the line or something like that. Let me know in the comments your guys' craziest like Queen of England thing.
But let's not kid ourselves. Britain is not the United States, and the United States is not Britain. For instance, we don't go in for this kind of thing. They do. But there's no mystery about that. Remember our grandmother's house? It was old-fashioned, out of date, patched and altered to suit each new generation, and filled with family relics even grandmother.
That's funny.
Well, John Britton has been living in his house for a long time. And that's why to us, who live in a modern house that we built ourselves to suit ourselves, John Britton seems slow-moving and cluttered up with ancient traditions. Kings, for instance. The present king rode to his coronation in the same coach, to the same church, for the same ceremony as his ancestors did. But the job he took on is very different from theirs. There have been some changes made, for the British king can no longer make laws or impose taxes or interfere with government. He and his family work as hard as any other citizen.
I feel like that's not necessarily true, right? I feel like the king and queen still, we just saw a video the other day where they still have that power, where they can, you know, for the greater good of the country, they could do what they want to do, so to speak. But man, this is crazy, bro. And I understood, you know, America just had to throw some shade at you guys, bro. It's like, you know, just like living at your grandma's house. like okay. But man, if you guys enjoyed this video though, that's gonna be it. Remember, this is part 1 of part 2, bro. If you guys enjoyed this video, man, please smash that like button, hit the subscribe button. Let me know in the comments your guys' thoughts and feelings on this, and if you guys want part 2. But yeah, man, I enjoyed this one. I feel like the next part's about to get even crazier because we're gonna dive more into the war or something. But yeah, it's crazy. Catch you guys on the next video. Peace.